Fun fact number 28. Believe in yourself because you matter. Yay, that's on my desk. That's one of the many things on my desk. Hi, everybody. It's fun fact number 28 here and now. If you are a subscriber, then you know this could be about anything. um, Running a little bit behind. The days have been cloudy and gray, and today the sun did come out. But I had to do things anyway because it had been a while since I went to the food bank and I needed to go. And I'll probably have to go grocery shopping too, but it's good to go to the food bank. Um, I'm thinking about joining a gym, but I need to find out what my finances are going to look like at the end of next month, more or less, to really decide that. But I have an opportunity to a 3-day pass for a gym, and I really want to do laps in a pool, not just go to the ocean and dive through waves or go to a quieter lagoon and swim out to the buoy and back, which the buoy hasn't been there lately, so haven't been doing that. Um, but I want to move more and get healthier and try some different things. I was at this gym about 2 years ago. And about a year ago, I went with a friend. I really miss doing laps in the pool. So, and going into the hot tub. Yeah. So I'm thinking about maybe joining for a few months at least to get myself in better shape going forward. But I'm also thinking about going on a diet, but that's not going to happen till April, maybe for about a month, just to jump start my healthiness. Um, but here now, it's a beautiful day. I think I'm gonna walk to the ocean and meditate, do my yoga, walk to the ocean. I've paid my car insurance. I've gone to the bank. I've crunched the numbers. I've done things I'm supposed to do. Been trying going to different places. And I might be going to more, especially since my number one karaoke place and KJ is no longer operational. So I'm checking out different places. And as I'm checking out different places, I'm still on a dating app and I'm still trying to find somebody. Really want that soulmate. I think I was going to tell you about that in another fun fact about some of the dating things that I've been going through. But I will say that um, I did go to a new place a few nights ago. It's my second time there. I met some really nice people, and a very young man was really, really into me. And he walked me to my car. I kissed somebody. This is going to be part of another fun fact I'll tell you the background of her and everything. And I haven't kissed anybody in about a year. So that was nice. My other we're friends, but there's a blurry line there of friendship that leans into intimacy but isn't intimate. Um, that one I had a big blow up with. We had a disagreement, and it was really sad because it was around my birthday. It was like actually the the night before my birthday, and I wasn't thinking about my birthday, but his birthday was Saturday. And I was wondering what he was doing. I was thinking I could drive to where he's at. We could hang out at his haunts. Um, or he could drive to where I'm at and I could take him out to lunch and we could go play. Um, I also thought about meeting him halfway, and he was talking about doing something like that. And that's how the conversation kind of started with texting. And then finally he called me and he said, well, I was thinking about concerts and I was thinking about we could go to a concert together, but they're pretty far away. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know how that would work. Like, but you should do what you want. Maybe there's somebody else you can go with. It's fine. And we were talking about birthday and then we were talking about meeting halfway and trying to find something that he's been wanting to try and doing it together and meeting halfway. And we were looking at that. And and my friend who's transgender stopped by and because he's in New York now and I've talked about him before, he's one of my favorite people on the planet. And he stopped by because he was in town on Monday, which was a holiday. And I said, oh, yeah, my friend had stopped by and what he was going through. And he started kind of getting weird about transgender. And it's not what you would think. It was more like um, he was saying transgender were too militant and it was being pushed on kids and stuff like that. He knows somebody who's transgender and they were transgender 20 years ago, and that person said that things have changed and wasn't such a big deal 20 years ago and now it's a big deal. No, it was always a big deal. You were always ostracized unless maybe you had money or something, or you were sheltered somehow from the backlash of being transgender. But transgender has not always been acceptable. And maybe in Roman times, but mm, and then it did get trendy. And I know a lot of people who jumped on the bandwagon because it was trendy to be transgender. That was weird. But he said it was like it was more militant and they were forcing it upon kids. And I'm like, no, they're just anything that I work in schools and they're not forcing it on the kids. If they're doing anything at all, it might be if a child has questions or something like that. There's books that say, well, how do you feel? And what do you think? And are these things that you think about? And so it's a more of a guide of you may or may not be, but here's things to look for in your feelings and the way you approach things. Here's some things to look for. There might be kids to show different, there might be books to show different, all types of people. So if a child's trying to figure out who they are, they can have all these examples and go, oh, it's like when my daughter said she was bisexual. And I said, no, you're not. You're not bisexual. And I wasn't saying it because I didn't want her to be bisexual. I wasn't saying it because I thought that was something wrong. Just from my own observations, she wasn't. And then she told me she was pan. That made total sense to me. That she doesn't fall in love. She doesn't, it's not the gender that she falls in love with. The gender doesn't matter. It's the person. And that made total sense to me. That I could wrap my head around. But bisexual didn't quite make sense. But pan made sense for her. I kind of wish I could be more like that, be pan. But I like guys. you know. And we can see how good that's doing me with all the dating stuff, with people not answering and texting partially. And if I don't text back, they don't text again. And if I don't call, I don't know. It's just dating is just crap. That's all I have to say. So, but my daughter had a date, but I am going to talk about that in another fun fact. And but my friend, we were talking, and I said, "Hey, I just disagree with you." I go, it's just if you're a Trump head, I'm sorry, we can't be friends anymore. And he goes, "No, I didn't vote for Trump. not a Trump head, but I think Trump's done some good things. And I'm like, what? And then he started going on vaccines. And he's gone down the AI rabbit hole a few times, and he's gone down other rabbit holes a few times. And I'm just like, you don't know me well enough to talk to me the way you're talking to me and trying to put me in my place and say, I'm wrong and you're right and I need to research and stuff like that. You don't know what I've done and where I've been. And so it's probably best that you don't. And he was saying people in detention centers are all criminals. And I'm like, oh, dude, you've got so much. You're so in a box and so unaware that, and I knew his worldview was different. And I knew his world was different, but we connected on other things. And I really appreciated his presence and being around him. And I really cared about him. And in the end, I said, whoa, 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 you really believe that? Wait a second, you believe that? Do you really believe that? I've done my research. And I'm like, man, I mean, you didn't hear about these stories? No, I haven't heard about those stories. And you said that the news organizations that you're listening to are unbiased. Who's paying for those news organizations? Who's behind them? Um, so it was kind of hard. He's not a Trump head, but he's not totally against Trump either. But we disagreed on some fundamental things that was I kind of knew it was going to be that way, but he didn't. And he didn't want to listen to what I had to say. I knew what he had to say because I've heard it before and I've seen it and I've done my own awareness check and know what the truth is. And so by the end of the conversation, he was yelling and I was still calm and I said, we're just having a disagreement. Well, you're not listening to me and you're not believing in me. And I'm like, you're not listening to me and you're not believing me either. Let's just agree to disagree. We're just having a disagreement. And he said, fuck, he was yelling still. And he said, fuck you. And fuck this relationship, friendship, whatever it is, because I don't know what it is. So, and he hung up. And I wrote to him and I apologized for upsetting him. And that I pretty much knew we had different worldviews, but I was hoping that wouldn't be such a huge issue, but I knew it would be eventually. And I haven't seen him for probably like 2.5 weeks. And this was probably a week and a half that I hadn't seen him. So it's been like another week that I haven't seen him. And this was like a week ago or whatever that we had. Yeah, it was. It was like less than a week ago that we had this conversation on the phone. And then I texted him and just kind of said, I wish you luck. I hope you find what you're looking for. I'm sorry I upset you. And maybe you'll understand someday what I'm trying to say. And he wrote back and he just sent me things that he think is proof to support his points. The next morning, he did text me happy birthday. And then I just didn't text anything. But on Saturday, I mean, we hadn't talked about getting together for his birthday. And I just assumed since he said, fuck this relationship, fuck this friendship, fuck you, and hung up and never apologized. He made an excuse. He said something happened before he called that was really upsetting to him. And I did text him back and I said, hey, what upset you? I'm still here if you need to talk to somebody, even though we're done. And he just texted stuff about how he was right, trying to prove how he was right. And I actually did some research and I found out some stuff and it was very disturbing, but it didn't support his point of view. Some of it did and some of it didn't. So there you go. And yeah, it was I texted him I texted him happy birthday on his birthday on Saturday, and he texted me more samples of what he thought would prove his point and that he was right. There was no apology. There was no, I missed our friendship, or miss our relationship, whatever it was. Um, there was no apology of screaming at me on the phone and saying, fuck you and fuck this relationship. Um, it was just him keeping trying to prove his point. I just don't have any response for it anymore. And it makes me sad because I do miss him. But it just proves to me that I like lost puppy dogs and trying to help them. And at a certain point, if they're very narcissistic, I can't help them if they don't want to hear what I have to say. So, and I'm very open minded. So I was willing to listen to him, but the stuff that was coming out of his mouth was crap. So it was very hard. So I think I lost another friend. Be my friend, like, subscribe. This is the here and now. I think I'm going to meditate and do some yoga and go for a nice walk to the ocean. And I hope you have a lovely day in the here and now. And I'll go back to the beginning. This one, believe you matter. And if I ever meet my soulmate, you guys are going to know all about it. I might even stop talking. If I find my soulmate, I'm just going to live life and be happy. But, okay. Okie dokie. Here and now. Like I said, I did get kissed on Sunday. And a butt slap. That's for another fun fact. I think I'm calling that one. What am I calling that one? Love Potion and Prophecy Latte. Check that one out. That one's going to be fun. Ciao, Bellas.